Hey there. Welcome to this episode. Thank you for being here. I'm just really glad you're here today. If you're listening to this, you know what? You're meant to be here. Something has called you here energetically, and you're here. So I trust that this will bless you for your best and highest good in whatever way it's meant to be. And you know what? Today, I really want to talk a little bit about this episode I'm calling Diffusing Your Anger at Other People or at others. And as always, I have little life stories to share about this. But hey, I mean, raise your hand if you've ever been angry. Oh my goodness, well, we'll raise both hands. Angry at other people or feeling annoyed, frustrated, right? Irritated by other people, whatever you want to call it. Those are just varying degrees of anger, right? At other people. And sure, we've all been there, cut off in traffic, having to wait in line at the airport. Somebody cuts in front of us. Someone slams the door in our face. Someone yells at us. The phone company, overcharges you on your bill. Whatever it is, right? We've all been there. And the thing, though, about anger, it's so beautiful. Anger is so beautiful because it shows us just incredible ways that we can grow in our own lives. First off, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what anger is, right? Anger really is an emotion that comes up for us when we feel that something in our world isn't fair, right? When something is unfair. This means someone's done something to us that we think is unfair, a circumstance or a situation in the world is unfair, right? You have programming, right? Part of your identity, part of your programming, subconscious programming, and then even programming throughout your body, brain, and nervous system that then says, yeah, I see that thing out in the world, or someone did something to me, and my programming is that is unfair, right? Right? You don't take from someone else what isn't yours, right? That would be unfair, right? You don't cut people off in traffic, right? I mean, that would be unfair. That's just an example. But you know what? We all do. And this is where I wanted to go because recently, mornings at my house are always, who knows, it's kind of the grab bag. What are we going to get? Because we've got my 2.5 years young daughter. How's the morning going to roll out? And this morning it was going great. And then suddenly we were into tears and upset and all kinds of things. And my husband's working on getting to a meeting. He's getting frustrated. My toddler wants to spend time with him. He's getting frustrated. And now I'm getting frustrated because I'm going through my routine, working on things. And now do I need to step in and all of that? Well, do I? Don't I? Is my husband going to manage this or does he need help? What's the deal? But my husband's getting, a little bit frustrated. And so now I'm getting a little bit frustrated because I'm feeling like I need to set aside what is important for me to address what's going on with my toddler and husband and my husband's frustrations. Now I'm getting annoyed at my husband that he's not taking care of this. He's not managing it. Why do I need to step in? Because my toddler wants him. Like, what is for me to do about this? Right? How is me stepping in going to ameliorate this at all? And I was noticing these feelings of unfairness. And I'm like, you know what? This is great. Look at this. Anger, frustration, unfairness. Story. What is this showing me? My programming. It's showing me my programming of, hey, if someone is interrupting me doing something important to me, that's not fair. If someone is feeling frustrated and annoyed and they're coming into my environment, and empath that I am, I'm picking up on that vibe. And now if I'm not being aware of it and consciously then managing my emotions, well, now you know what? They're angry, and you know what? I'm now getting angry. And then now I'm getting angry at them for, air quote, making me angry. Because, hey, as an empath, have you noticed that as well? So many of you on this journey are very sensitive to other people's energies as well. And you notice yourself getting carried along by other people's energy and frequency, even though it's really got nothing to do with you. Before you know it, you're sad or angry or annoyed or all of that. And you're like, what? That's them. But I'm feeling this. And now I'm feeling this because they're feeling that. And now I'm going to be pissed off at them because I'm feeling bad and it's their fault because they brought their crappy energy into my space. Been there, got the t-shirt, right? So you too, but you know what diffuses this? And that's what I wanted to talk about in this episode is you've been there too. I've been there too. And what do I mean by that? Every time you're annoyed and angry about someone cutting you off in traffic, tell me you've not done that. You've done it too. This is so powerful then when you can tell yourself and take yourself off your high horse, because what are you really getting into here? You're getting into judgment, right? And comparison. Unfairness is simply based on comparison, because how can something be unfair if you only have one thing? Like, what's to compare to? You're comparing situations, circumstances, and expectations you have versus what you are seeing in your reality. And you're comparing two things and saying, unfair. That generates the anger, the frustration, the annoyance, the irritation. But look, right? This is what is so cool. When you start to look at all of these situations that are annoying you, people that are annoying you, the things they're doing, and you're choosing to allow that to annoy you or anger or frustrate you, frustration, I make up words. You've done it too. And that is such a helpful perspective to then give yourself a break and then give the other person some compassion and grace as well. Because you know what? None of us are perfect. You've heard that memo before. But none of us are perfect. And so, they cut you off in traffic. You're angry. I've done that too. Okay, you know what? Why did they do it? Who knows? Do they know they did it? Who knows? Does it matter? No, I've done it too. So do I give myself grace and compassion when I make a choice that maybe it angers someone else? That's not my responsibility for how they feel. But if I cut you off in traffic, well, you know what? I give myself grace and compassion about that. I'm going to give myself grace and compassion for someone else if they do that to me as well, if that is my perception. My husband's going around in the morning like a bear with a sore head. I've done that too. Oh my gosh, if you talk with my husband, you know what? I am on my spiritual journey, but I am still not the most easy person to live with. I have plenty of work to continue to do on myself. Yeah, I've been the angry, grumpy, frustrated person in the morning trying to get things done. And maybe that rippled out onto others in my life and they felt that too. So when someone in my space, my husband, is in frustration or annoyance or any of that, and he's managing what he's working with in the morning, I have been there too. Grace, love, compassion for myself and for my amazing, incredible, so grateful and blessed to have partner. The state of the world, whatever it is about it that's annoying and angering you right now, can you see pieces of yourself in the situation? Where you have been maybe unkind to someone, impatient to someone, maybe you took something that wasn't yours, maybe you acted unjustly, maybe you didn't mean to, or even on purpose you harmed someone, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever way. Maybe you said something unkind, maybe you did something, but see that out in the world, doesn't make it, air quote, good, doesn't make it loving, kind, compassionate. I'm not sanctioning anything, right? It just seeing it and observing it, but also seeing yourself in the situation as well. Because once again, We are all the universe, and the universe is us. So we are not separate, even though we're all having our different experiences of life in this particular incarnation. We are not separate. The things you see others do, it's in you as well. And chances are you have done it or something similar or in some other frequency or in some other vein in a greater or lesser degree to some extent. Sure, maybe you haven't severely bodily harmed someone, but sure, you've harmed someone before. See that in you. And that diffuses then the emotion within you of your anger, your frustration. See that blessing and lesson, because it's giving you the opportunity to look inward and say, ah, yeah, I'm not perfect either. I see this in me one time or another, or even right now, and I forgive myself, and I give myself grace and compassion. And I give grace and compassion to that person as well. It doesn't mean I condone, right? But it means you learning your lessons and your blessings and seeing what your emotions give to you as an opportunity to grow and evolve in awareness about yourself, and then choose different programming going forward, where the programming isn't, this is unfair. The programming is, I see this and I see how this is something I have done as well. I have awareness of this and I have grace and compassion for this, and I choose now to reprogram something else. That grace and compassion instead of the judgment and the anger. And you grow and evolve, and your frequency of grace and compassion is so much higher than the frequency of that anger and that judgment. This is you growing and evolving. I think that's where people then get so wrapped around the axle about, oh, the world is unfair and I'm angry about it, or so-and-so did that and it's unfair, you know. And when your little kid, so-and-so stole my lunch, that's unfair. Well, okay, there is no fair or unfair. What we are experiencing in our life is here for us to grow and evolve from. Cause and effect. People get into this and say, but why should that happen? The universe is a horrible place, right? Why do people have bad things happen to them? It's about growing and evolving. The emotions that come with it guide us to then grow and evolve. What is the lesson that you've been placed here to learn, bazillions of them, based on your past incarnations and karmic experiences, right? So I know I'm going a little off track here, but there's just so much coming to the surface with this right now of you're being presented with this experience for a reason. You can choose to see and observe and choose then to do reprogramming to shift you into a higher consciousness, frequency, state of mind and being, or you can stay where you are. And either way, that's just fine. The lesson will continue in one way, shape, or form until you choose to move forward into higher consciousness. And that's okay. You can make those choices when you have awareness that you can make those choices, right? And you're on that path already. Awareness that yes, you can change. Awareness you can change frequency and emotion and your circumstantial state as well as your conscious state. But diffusing your anger at others, right, is so powerful. It is so powerful because how much of our life do we spend in some form of anger? Irritation, annoyance, impatience, various forms of anger. And that's all coming from our programming. So what if instead we look at this lesson and blessing in this way of, you know what, we're all in this together, even though I don't like what that person is doing. I don't like those circumstances. I accept that that's what exists right now. Doesn't mean I can't change it or do something about it, but it also means I'm not going to hold on to the irritation and the annoyance and the anger around that person and that circumstance, because that's toxic to me. And I see where I have been in that place as well, in one way, shape, form, or another. to whatever degree where I've annoyed someone or harmed someone or done something unfair, whatever that looks like, and reprogram yourself then for grace and compassion. Grace and compassion. And in that reprogramming and moving into the higher frequency of grace and compassion, take it even a step further and ask yourself, soul, what is it you want me to see here? And be open to hear the guidance that your soul is always sharing with you about that circumstance and experience that you're in. If you are angry because of your programming that is showing you your belief structure that something is unfair in the world, okay, grace and compassion, higher frequency, ask your soul for guidance. Is your soul then guiding you to do anything, to take any action, to adjust what you're seeing in the world, to contribute, to change, or not? It may be taking external action. Maybe it's actually directed right back to you to do change in your own life, because all change that happens in the world isn't created through our external. It's created in our internal, through your frequency, your energy, your consciousness, your programming, you, the whole of you. So you see how these pieces come together for then even a bigger impact on you and the experience you're having here in this world, in this incarnation. So we started off talking about, diffusing your anger at others, but where does this even go? It always comes back to you and the change for yourself, which then, of course, creates change in the world. But it all starts with you. And for this conversation, the very, very powerful perspective of grace and compassion for yourself and offering that to others as well, in order to diffuse your anger, diffuse your emotions, reprogram and move you to a higher frequency, right? Because you can create so much more expansion when you're at a higher frequency. So when you're saying, oh, things are unfair, what do you create from that place? That's low frequency. You are so much more able to create and change, make expansion, when you're at a higher frequency. So that anger is simply then a catalyst for you to move up and have the opportunity to make change in whatever way your soul calls you. So keep that in mind, right? You think you're in unfairness and that's like righteous place to be? No, it's a low frequency place to be. Thinking that things are not right in the world and it's broken and it's wrong, or that so-and-so did this to me and it's unfair, is a low frequency place to be. That's not a righteous place to be. That's not a you on your high horse, I'm right, they're wrong. Righteous anger, no such thing. It's just anger. And it's just guiding you to an opportunity to go higher. And when you go higher, hey, then you are in the frequency of actually creating change and doing something about whatever your earlier program ticked you off about in a loving, compassionate, positive way. If you're so guided by your soul. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. That is your takeaway. All right, that is your takeaway. So thank you for being here, and I'm so glad you joined me for this episode. And as always, shine bright, goddesses, shine bright, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.